Welcome to the Prescott Home Value Report through April 2020, brought to you by the Prescott Pickle Lady, Diane Bro Realtor. As you can probably tell, I am not the Pickle Lady, but I know her pretty well. That's me in the bottom right-hand corner. My name is Randall Bro, and I'm kind of the Pickle Lady's sometimes husband, but all the time digit head. And so I'm going to take you through the results for our monthly report. Here are the results for Prescott. So in this chart, we look at the price per square foot over time. We compare this year's results to last year's results. And as you can see, for the past month of April, we are 3% over last year at this time. Particularly since we're going through the whole COVID thing, that's a pretty good sign. So we're still topping out last year. Prescott Valley, they are really topping over last year. They're up 13% year over year. And you can see the months of March and April, when COVID started to do its thing, prices went up even sharper. So that's a cool thing. Next up, we look at volumes. These are the number of transactions in each month, and this is for Prescott. We were kind of expecting volumes to go down for the month of April. They did not. Actually, they spiked quite a lot. I think we're showing about 10-13% year over year for the month of April. So that's very good news. As we were kind of expecting, though, Prescott Valley took a dive. They were up in March. Maybe there's people trying to close before the virus set in. And then in April, we had a pretty sharp knock, the most substantial knock we've seen in quite some time. Moving on to the state of the market. So this is the pending ratio. The pending ratio is the percent of homes on the market that are already pending. So in the month at the end of April, there were a total of 530 homes that were on the market in Prescott. 131 of them were already pending, which is about 25%. And as you can see on our little chart here, 25% is considered a buyer's market, and the average time to sell should be around 5 months. Actually, it's a bit faster than that. Looking at Prescott Valley, theirs is a balanced market. 40% of the homes were pending, so even a little stronger. So all good signs, although it's a different story when you break that out by price point. So we're back to Prescott. As you can see in these lower price points, they don't have a whole lot of homes in the hundreds in Prescott, but looking at the 200s, seller's market, kind of a seller's market to balanced market. You get into the 400s, we're already into a buyer's market. And so what we're seeing is during this corona crisis, lower homes are in hot demand. And more expensive homes, not so much. So these homes in the 800s, 900s, millions and above, last month before, we saw these were closer to a balanced market. Now they're like bottoming out. So the very high end of our market has plummeted substantially during the pandemic. But the lower end is on fire. And we see the same sort of pattern going on in PV if we break them out by price point. Again, not a lot going in the 100s, but what goes immediately on the market. Off the market. 200s, extreme seller's market. And then we get into the 3s. It gets into more of a balanced, and then into a buyer's market. Not sure what's going on in the 500s. Evidently, there aren't as many homes in the 500s in Prescott Valley, and there's hot demand for them. So that's a little bit of an anomaly there. But then once you get into the 700s and above, it's an extreme market. So again, the higher ends were kind of buried during the pandemic. Overall, in Prescott, it takes about 4 months for homes to sell, 3 months to contract, and about 1 in escrow. Prescott Valley, almost exactly the same. They're quicker off to contract, but they are taking longer in escrow, so it ends up being about almost the exact same amount of time. Very different, once again, when you break things out by price point. So this is Prescott. We can see homes in the 200s, 300s, 400s going really quick, when you start getting down here, those numbers, those numbers get much bigger. And then in Prescott Valley, same sort of thing. Very high-end homes are taking a real long time, but those lower-end homes are hot, hot, hot. Here's a look at a real quick look at the top 5 subdivisions for each area. This is Prescott. We have Prescott Lakes, Yavapai Hills, Hassayampa Village, Talking Rock, and the Ranch at Prescott. Green represents the high in 2006. That was our previous peak. The gray is 2011, which was considered the bottom of the bottom after the crash. The blue is last year. The red is this year. You could see overall we were certainly past our high in Prescott overall since 2006. And of course, we're beating year over year. We already talked about that. Prescott Lakes is like a machine. It's every month they seem to do really, really well year over year. Yavapai Hills, kind of a mixed bag. This past month they were down. Hassayampa Village has been on fire the last several months, year over year. Talking Rock is kind of even Steven, still trying to get back to their old days, and the same with the Ranch at Prescott. In Prescott Valley, here are our top subdivisions: Granville, Pronghorn Ranch, Viewpoint, Stone Ridge, and PV Unit 19. As you can see, they have all pretty much surpassed their old records from 2006, and they are all above year over year. Overall, they're at 13, and some of these subdivisions are even topping that. All right, so summing up, in Prescott, prices and volume are ahead of last year. In Prescott Valley, prices are way up, but volume is down. In Prescott, it is a buyer's market, especially high-end homes. We're going to call Prescott Valley balanced, but the reality is that it's a seller's market at the low end and a buyer's market at the high end. Homes are taking about 4 months, or 3.8 in Prescott Valley. And as we saw, that price levels and subdivisions really matter. It's a mixed bag in Prescott. In Prescott Valley, prices are up all over the map, but all top, and that's true of all top subdivisions. They're all ahead, but price levels do matter. So some of those higher end homes are getting hit. All right, so that we got a whole lot more information in the report itself. This is just a quick overview, and I like to keep it short. You should know about our Pickle page. This report is on our Pickle page, but it is not the only thing. There's a whole bunch of stuff. One thing you might be interested in is our Appraiser's Eye report, which is essentially comps. We have every single comp for all of the top 40 subdivisions in Prescott and Prescott Valley for the last 6 months. So if you're trying to figure out how much you should be paying for a home or how much to price your home, you need to get your hands on the Appraiser's Eye report. A new report, Subdivision Snapshots. We look at the 12 months for all the top 100 subdivisions in Prescott and Prescott Valley. And this is a quick synopsis of what we give you at each one. We tell you how many transactions there were over 12 months, the average price per home, average square footage, acreage. This is price per square foot, the average year that the homes were built, what the HOA costs per year, and this 71 is the percent of homes that report having a view. We also give the min and the max for all of these. So, for example, we know in this particular subdivision, the oldest home sold was built in 2002, and the latest one was last year. So this subdivision has relatively newer homes. You can look at the spread for the square footage and the acreage. So it's a great way to dial into the subdivisions that you should be targeting if you're looking at buying a home here. So might be a good idea to subscribe. We update these reports every month, and you can always get the latest one on the Pickle page. So if you subscribe, we'll give you access to that, and we'll send you a monthly update. So you might think it's a good idea to do that, and we would welcome you to. As always, questions and comments are always welcome. Just reply back or hit a contact button, and we'll be glad to respond to you. Hope this was helpful and informative, and I'll see you next month.